This presentation aims to provide you with an overview of some of the major milestones Nortel Networks has achieved. This overview will also illustrate our strategic direction and vision moving forward, particularly some of the big opportunities we'll be capitalizing on in the future. In short, our focus is on building the high-performance internet and making it profitable. We believe that if we're successful in executing that, we'll continue the growth success we've enjoyed over the past several quarters. Behind all that momentum is the internet revolution. It has been and will continue to be Nortel Networks' major driving force. To put this into context, a few key points about the internet need to be addressed. Number one is the convergence of telecom and the internet. The internet would not have been possible without first building the telephone network. At the same time, the invention of browser technology to sort through huge amounts of data and find the information that you're looking for has been absolutely crucial. While the merging of these forces has given rise to the internet, the underlying engine has been Moore's law, reducing the cost and increasing the power of computing, combined with the optical law of fiber optics, reducing the cost of long-distance transmission. Computing power now is so cheap that we have massive amounts of it on our desks, in our homes, in our cars, and even in our appliances. Today, we can put it just about everywhere for almost nothing. Then there's the 99% reduction we've seen in the cost of long distance over the past 10 years. This has led to what we call the death of distance, enabling us to transmit vast amounts of data over long distances because for the first time it has become affordable. In reality, this is what's fueling the internet. It's also important to realize that the internet is being driven by consumers. The consumer demand for access to the world's information over the internet on their terms is a tremendous force, and it represents a most profound and fundamental change for society. And as a result of widespread global deregulation, we now have a telecom industry that has been free to meet consumer demand with unprecedented innovation and ingenuity. Finally, an important point to emphasize is that the really powerful aspect of the web is that you have access to all the world's knowledge stored anywhere in the world, and it's available all the time, in real time. The growth of the internet we expect to see in the coming years really tells the story. We know we're already well past 100 million people connected, and as a conservative estimate, we're certainly going to be looking at 200 million users within 12 to 15 months. By 2003, we expect to have between 350 and 500 million users. Some say there will be as many as 1 billion users. And as we've noted, it's the boom in e-commerce that we see as the most significant aspect of this growth. Global e-commerce this year will be worth about $100 billion, which is all the more impressive considering that's from a virtual standing start just a few years ago. Companies like Amazon.com and eBay have emerged out of nowhere to turn their industries upside down. And the amazing thing is that we're just at the start of the wave. Corporations have been re-engineering their information systems lately, primarily to solve the Y2K problem. And they've been putting in the needed investments to have ERP systems that will allow people to move to web-based commerce now that we are past January the 1st, 2000. We are going to see a huge change in how commerce moves into the web. By 2003, total e-commerce is expected to grow to about $1.3 trillion, business-to-business transactions representing 80% of the total. General Motors and Chrysler have already put their entire supply chain management systems on the net. This all represents huge growth over a small period in time. We've never really seen anything like it before. It's similar to a Category 5 hurricane. You know it's massive, you know it's on the way soon, and you know it requires a lot of work boarding up a lot of windows in a short time frame if you're to get through the storm intact. This industry has a major societal responsibility on its shoulders. We have to build a high-performance internet that can turn the threat of that Category 5 hurricane into the opportunity of the new millennium. If we don't succeed, the promise of the internet will never be realized. It will never fulfill its potential as a ubiquitous global distribution system for knowledge, entertainment, and business. To ensure that the internet is able to be that ubiquitous global delivery system, Here are the attributes we have to build into the high-performance Internet. Put another way, these are the Internet's current shortcomings that have to be overcome. The potential of the net will not be achieved if we cannot get the reliability of the system correct. Commerce will simply not run on an unreliable and unpredictable network. We all want to put voice on the network, yet the quality is not there to handle voice over IP. We're looking at huge volume increases in the coming years. It's not clear we can scale the system to handle those kinds of demands. We're all becoming impatient with the time it takes to get the pages down, and now we want to send video clips, so the speed of the network is becoming a hindrance. The Internet needs to be even simpler to use. It's still a fixed system. Security is an issue. We're not too sure we can put sensitive material on the web. And then there's access. Everyone, regardless of their status in life, should be able to access the net. And from a technical standpoint, we have to have the devices that enable quick, fast, and convenient access. Finally, and most importantly, there's profitability. We all know that the economics for the network operators are not quite right. Margins are very thin. Profits are too low, in fact, too low to pay for the construction of the network. So the most important thing we have to focus on now is how to bring profitability to the Internet business. Otherwise, this industry will not be able to proceed at the pace that society is expecting. While those are the Internet attributes that shape our mission in the broadest sense, here's a look at the 3 layers of architecture that must be in place to drive profitability and enable those attributes to be delivered. At the bottom is the enabling infrastructure. It is what the Internet runs on. This layer is the key to giving the Internet high speed, 5 nines of reliability, and easy accessibility. The middle layer is what we call service enabling solutions. You can think of it as the operating system of the network that provides an open platform for services and applications. This layer is the key to making the Internet both profitable and sustainable. The top layer represents all the services and applications that we can only begin to imagine today. With the core attributes covered by the bottom and middle layers, it's the applications of this top layer that will ultimately deliver on the potential of the net to really change people's day-to-day lives and produce significant profitability. An important point to note here is that this infrastructure model differs from the infrastructure of the telecommunications network, in that the service-enabling platforms and applications are often independent of the hardware infrastructure. This makes it easy for many Internet-aware companies to develop new applications and services. In contrast, services such as call waiting in telecommunications networks have been embedded in the hardware. So while people might think of Nortel Networks as a hardware company, we've actually been developing thousands of software-based voice applications for years that were embedded in our hardware. In the new Internet model, we're developing applications independent of our hardware that can run on any platform. The reality is that we're as much a software company as a hardware company. The foundation of this architecture is based on 4 technology pillars. These are the optical Internet, the wireless Internet, Internet telephony, and Internet services, and they're a primary focus of our activities at Nortel Networks. The optical Internet resides in the enabling infrastructure layer and powers the Internet. It's the optical networks, components, and switches that carry and manage the traffic for optimal performance. The wireless Internet spans all 3 architectural layers of the Internet. This includes the wireless infrastructure, wireless service platforms, and wireless applications, such as Nortel Networks' home locator solution that can tell people where they're located using signals from their cell phone. Internet telephony also spans all 3 layers. It includes infrastructure such as our succession platform for migrating from circuit to packet networks, services platforms, and applications such as Internet call waiting, a solution that lets people take calls on the same line they're already using to access the Internet, and unified messaging. Finally, Internet services reside in the applications layer at the top. An example is customer relationship management software, which allows customer information to be integrated from all sources, email, fax, the web, and face-to-face, to get a total view of the customer experience. We will now take a few minutes to take a closer look at each of these 4 technology pillars, because our initiatives within each of these shape how we're meeting the challenge of building the profitable, high-performance Internet. We'll start with the optical Internet. We have tremendous quantities of fiber optic capacity coming online in the backbone, and we're going to need it. Projections are that between now and 2003, we're going to need more than a 40 times growth in the backhaul capacity to meet the requirements of the traffic we see coming at us. Fiber optics, therefore, are vital to the high-performance Internet, and vital to its profitability by reducing the cost of ownership. We're proud that this is an area in which Nortel Networks has demonstrated total market leadership in terms of market share, customer wins, and technology. Our fiber optics business is booming. In fact, we've recently announced we're tripling our production capacity to help us keep up with demand. Nortel's high-speed optical solutions are already found in 33 of the 40 major new networks built in North America and Europe over the past 2 years. Currently, we're trialing a 1.6 terabit per second solution. Think about what that 1.6 terabits per second really means. It represents the transmission of the entire 4 million book collection of the US Library of Congress from one side of North America to the other in less than 2 minutes over a single strand of fiber. Send it over a 56K modem and it would take 81.5 years. Now think about 6.4 terabits per second over a single fiber. That's coming soon, and it reflects how we're turning Moore's law on its head. Over the next 2 years, we expect to double the capacity of our fiber optic systems every 9 months, and cut the cost by more than half. In addition, note that our state-of-the-art optical components are giving us a leg up on the competition in bandwidth management. And we're also delivering new world routing through our new optical switching and routing capabilities at the core of the network. These solutions can manage massive Internet traffic, and as we announced recently, we're licensing our routing code so it can be embedded in any server, processor, or Internet appliance. Taken together, these 2 developments are creating a new foundation for the Internet economy based on high performance, accessibility for everyone, and profitability for the service providers. Finally, of note, we're extending the optical Internet into the enterprise for large businesses in metropolitan areas so they can have the best available end-to-end fiber optic connection. The optical Internet also involves the first mile of the network, and a range of solutions is being created to deliver access to the network much more quickly and with much greater capacity, helping drive Internet profitability. This will unleash a new generation of applications and services with enormous power. Competition between cable and telephone companies is speeding up the deployment of high-speed access in the first mile. Cable modems are rolling out in great numbers as the cable industry moves beyond its passive cable TV phase and adds Internet and telephony to the services they deliver to homes. Telephone service providers are deploying digital subscriber line technologies that make standard copper wires powerful enough to deliver high-speed data and streaming video. However, although copper will reach, it won't scale. So the real potential is in a range of solutions, over cable or through the air via satellite and broadband wireless technologies, to increase the capacity in the first mile between the consumer at the megabit level and businesses at the gigabit and terabit levels. In summary, we have the technologies: ADSL over copper, and more significantly, cable modems, wireless technologies, wireless broadband fixed access, such as LMDS, and even optical to go to multi-tenant buildings. These technologies that we're providing are solving the problem. The only issue is that they need to be deployed more quickly so they can meet the demand. These deployments must be easy, practical, and economic for carriers so they can drive up profitability. The next pillar is Internet telephony. It's an extremely valuable tool for closing the performance and profit gap of the Internet. This is an area of tremendous importance to traditional carriers. The Internet has started to consume long-distance traffic, a trend that's enabling new players to enter the market and deliver new services such as virtual private networks and internet call centers. With internet telephony for carriers, we're providing a real-world solution by maximizing the benefits of the world's trillion-dollar-plus investment in existing telecom networks. We're helping service providers, both wireline and wireless, begin the migration to next-generation packet networks with a reduction in operating costs of up to 45%. Nortel Networks are delivering a reduction in capital costs of up to 50% and are creating service bundles that will drive future revenues for our service provider customers. Internet telephony is also a key area for us in delivering solutions to the new players and to cable service providers that want to deliver the internet and telephony over cable. And the internet telephony story for enterprises is similar to what's happening with carriers. We're seeing a circuit-switched world moving towards IP-optimized packet networks. And as those enterprises shift to IP-based network fabrics, it's important that they are still able to retain all the strengths users of established enterprise voice systems have become accustomed to. Our solutions are enabling enterprises to have unified voice and data networks that simplify communications and network management, underpin e-commerce, and reduce costs. So, for both carriers and enterprises, internet telephony is the key entrance to the internet era. It's about service bundles, corporations being able to in-source and outsource the same service, and being able to get the same service for wireless as wireline. It includes not only all forms of communication we've known in the past, but all the exciting multimedia experiences we can expect in the future. And implicit in that is the fact that data will finally be able to pay for the construction of the network. The high-performance internet will be built on internet and data profitability instead of voice profitability. The third pillar is the wireless internet. It's the merging of wireless freedom and the power of the internet to deliver profitability. To date, mobile penetration is moving extremely quickly, except it's not available yet on the web. The cellular development coming up is data over cellular, be it with GPRS, Edge, or 3G. These will bring access to the web over wireless devices. Within the next couple of years, a substantial amount of internet traffic will be carried over wireless devices. And the main reason why will be the new economics that are seeing the cost of wireless drop from 37 cents to 4 cents per megabit. Wireless internet is a powerful tool that can provide megabit connections from the home or office to the backbone optical network without installing new wiring or cable. Local multipoint digital services, LNDS, and other technologies are already supplying such links. With wireless internet, we're delivering a single, consistent network architecture for data and telephony, an architecture that enables a reduction in facilities and operations costs and a range of new services. Nortel Networks is focused on providing a single, consistent third-generation network architecture for voice and data, which will put the power of the net in your pocket. This includes a host of new e-mobility services like Home Locator, as well as Mobile Desktop, which sends your email to your cell phone. The fourth pillar of the high-performance internet is internet services. These are the profit engines of the internet. Internet services represent the marrying of companies' intranets with the services they get from their carriers. It's an initiative about e-commerce, multimedia, harnessing new applications, and extending network reach. Applications and services will be the source of new value for enterprises and better profit margins for service providers. There are two key elements to internet services. The first is service-enabling platforms for service providers and enterprises, specifically policy management and quality of service. These profit generators allow for new commerce, collaboration, and communications applications. They also enable effective network management. Nortel Networks' service and network management software, a unique competitive advantage of ours, allows us to manage the traffic and performance of wireless, wireline, voice, data and cable networks. At the heart of this initiative is putting an end to one-size-fits-all services. Today, enterprises generally provision their networks to handle the maximum amount of traffic transmitted during the business week, even if those peak traffic periods only occur periodically. The enterprise often pays for capacity in a network sitting idle the rest of the time. With new Internet Services solutions, we've found efficient ways for service providers to personalize services based on individual customer needs. For example, a customer who needs high-speed Internet access at certain times of the day will be able to buy just that capacity. Service providers will be able to customize their billing plans and provision their networks more efficiently. The second profit-generating element is services and applications which relate to customer relationship management and supply chain management. We're unifying the customer and supplier experience across all media, which is critical for e-business. It means new and dynamic links between website and call center technologies, virtual private networks, and megabit telecommuter services. You can see that with all those initiatives built around driving the profitability of the Internet, we're a growth company focused on high-growth opportunities. We're going after a market that's worth about $315 billion, with an overall growth rate of about 14 to 15%. In fact, we now expect our revenue growth to exceed the market growth by about 6%. This reflects confidence in our next-generation portfolio. And you can see here how it all breaks down in terms of the three layers of the high-performance Internet. The enabling infrastructure level is worth about $250 billion and will grow at a compound annual rate of about 15% between now and 2001. The service enabling layer is worth about $20 billion with a growth rate of 20 to 25%, and the applications at the top are worth about $65 billion, growing at 15 to 20%. A key point to note here is that there are many segments within that $315 billion, such as the optical internet in the infrastructure layer, growing at much faster rates, up to 100% in some cases. Another point to note is that because we're moving faster than our competitors with our next generation portfolio, we expect increased market share over the next few years. Our quick move to triple our global production capacity in optical components and systems is an example of how we're chasing the big opportunities to gain share. Another example is our increasing focus on the applications space with the recently announced acquisitions of Clarify and Periphonics, and our alliance with Microsoft, Intel, and Hewlett-Packard. To deliver on all that profit potential, we've got a sound business model in place, and it starts with our recent simplification into two customer-facing organizations. These two organizations are Enterprise Solutions, under Bill Connor, and Carrier and Service Provider Solutions, under Clarence Chandran. Incorporated into these two groups are simplified sales and marketing organizations focused on major geographies. Our use of the Internet to drive a global service organization is also a vital part of our business model. It has enabled us to implement a virtual supply chain management model, and we've transformed from vertical manufacturing to virtual operations. Another cornerstone to our strategy involves global operations. We've created 7 global systems houses, linking customers, design centers, internal manufacturing, suppliers, and contract manufacturers. We've also divested to world-class contract manufacturers those capabilities that no longer offer Nortel competitive advantage. And at the same time, we've directed our internal resources to those specialized production skills that continue to offer us competitive differentiation in the marketplace. This includes production of optical components, complex printed circuit board assembly, systems configuration, testing, and new product introduction. Other notable elements of our model include capitalizing on significant time-to-market advantages. We operate in web time, so we're much more flexible and able to get into new businesses quickly. This is delivering significant customer benefits, faster delivery, order tracking, and ease of interaction. Also note that we've achieved significant operational efficiencies worth about $250 to $300 million per year. Finally, let me note the importance of professional services. These represent a multi-billion-dollar business for us and a key part of our customer-oriented operating model. To conclude, let's reiterate the key points on why we see Nortel Networks as an outstanding growth company well positioned for the future. We feel we're the broadest company in the industry with the most extensive portfolio, and we're driven by a clear vision of the future that permeates through our entire organization. We have established a leadership position in all the high-growth segments, and we're maximizing on our excellent customer relationships throughout the world. We've also capitalized on our recent history of seizing the first-mover advantage, a very important success factor for competing effectively in web time. Finally, we believe we have the best team assembled for success. Our people understand high-performance networking. We've done it for years. It's in our DNA. Taken together, all these elements add up to a company building on a great deal of momentum because we are absolutely focused on our customers' success.